I love the HP X360 laptop, so much so that I actually own two of them, and they are my daily use laptops. Now, why do I have two? Well, because they advertise battery life of like 8 or 9 hours, and you actually get like 3 or 4. Now, I used to get about 7 or 8 when they were new, but the batteries degrade, and that's why I need two, because I kill the battery on one and I switch to the other, as crazy as that sounds. But I do kind of like these laptops. I kind of fell in love with them. This one, unfortunately, the battery's exploding. Seriously, it's exploding. If you look at the seams and compare the two, well, the black colored one is splitting at the seams. And the reason is because the battery is bulging up from the middle and pushing this up. And it also doesn't sit flat on the surface. It sort of wobbles because the battery is also bulging out the bottom. It's totally exploding out of the metal. Now, and it's also splitting over here, and yeah, it's a mess. Now, according to the HP website, it won't explode. They swear on it. It won't explode. I don't trust them. So I have a new laptop battery sitting right over here. It's actually not new. It's supposed to be like new, grade A used battery. Official HP PK03XL battery. This is not one of those knockoff brands. It's a genuine battery that came out of some other laptop. And I'm gonna swap it out, and it's super simple. It's gotta be. It's come on, these laptops, come on. It's got to be simple. So if you got one of these HP X360 laptops, they come in a whole bunch of variants of performance and whatnot. They all are, well, not all, most of them are mechanically identical inside. So if you need to swap a battery, you can watch me try and hopefully succeed, and then you can do it too. It's super simple. It actually looks like you need a T4 Torx screwdriver, which I have right here, and then just a regular Phillips head that's really small. And that's about it. So let's see if I'm right, and let's take this thing apart, and hopefully the new battery is gonna not be as bad as the old one in terms of battery life, and obviously it won't be exploding, so that's important. All right, we're gonna start by removing these Torx screws. There's a whole bunch of them. I believe these two are longer according to what I read online. Okay, and then all the other ones should be short. Let's see. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. These are tiny little screws, and on this laptop they're also painted, and the paint's kind of coming off the screws, which isn't so sightly. That's not even holding in that screw anymore. The pressure is so tight underneath that I can't even pull the screw out because it just pops the lid as soon as I unscrew it. There we go. This one came out. So I got two screws that I can't get my fingers under. Let's see if I can release this. Whoa! One of the screws just flew off onto the floor. I'll get that later. And indeed, that is a thick, fat battery. Okay, let's start by blowing off all the excess dust. Woo! Okay. Now we can see what we're doing. Now we're going to be removing these Phillips head screws. I see only 3. This one seems to be missing. All right, I'm going to use power tools for that, just because it's easier. Or not. That just stripped the screw. We're going to be removing these 3 screws. It's 1, 2, 3. There's a 4th one right here, I'm just seeing now. You have to have small fingers for this. Okay. Now the screws I just pulled out are very similar looking to the screws that were in the lids, so just don't mix them up because they definitely are different threads. Now let's get the harness disconnected, and right here's some wiring that's taped to the battery, so we're going to gently remove the tape. This battery, I hope it doesn't explode like you see on some YouTube channels. This here is also held in by a wire here. Okay, we're gonna release that delicately, very delicately, not to break the wire. Very delicately. Come on, there we go. Okay, and then the other side here, just remove the harness. And that's it. This battery is toast. It is so fat and inflated. This is kind of crazy. So, all right, let's get the new one. Well, let's blow out the dust first. Come on, get a battery. And then let's put in the next battery in reverse order, starting with the harness, connecting the harness here. I didn't honestly pay attention if this wire went above or below that harness, but I think it was above it. So I'm going to put the harness in here and then put that wire, route that wire, I should say, over it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nothing terrible is going to happen. Don't be afraid of this stuff, guys. Your mistakes are usually reversible when you take apart computers, usually. Push this wire back into that harness tray. Replace all the 4 screws. These screws have very short threads, like you only make a couple turns and then they're in. Come on, you can do it. You're not too good for your hole. You can do it. There you go, it's in. Okay, I'm gonna put a little more duster on this because it's dusty. Okay. All right, now the lid itself looks terrible, so I'm gonna go clean that and then come right back. Okay, I'm back, it's clean. All right, and now I'm gonna stick that back in. Now the back part here has these tabs, so those tabs have to go in first before you can put any other part of this lid back on. And it's a little bit finicky. There's like little things that need to snap in. There we go, all in now. All right, I'm gonna put the 2 big screws back in first. The lid is sitting nice and flush now, which it wasn't before with the exploding battery in there. It's probably going to run a little bit cooler now because the air can flow around, whereas before that battery was literally like taking up all the excess space inside the case. The smaller Torx screws that go on the back seem to have more threads on them than the larger Phillips head screws that are on the inside. They require more rotations just to get them in and out of the holes. It's cross-threaded. That is it. It is completely back together again. Let's power it on and see if it works. Alright, this is the moment of truth when we see if this old battery was better or worse than the new battery that I just stuck in it. So let's start by powering it on. The button on the light on the button came on, so that's a good start. Now let's see if the screen comes on. Indeed it is, it's lighting up HP. That's a good start. Let's see if it powers on and if there's charge in the battery, because sometimes you get a battery that's used and it has 0%, but it works perfectly fine once you charge it. This one seems to turn on, and so far so good. So let's see. 69% battery. I'd say this is a win. See you all in the next video. Perfect.